Good morning, Ian Crouch with your 8:30 Hunter News update. Newcastle and Hunter motorists are being warned to prepare for disruption over the next 12 months as road upgrades get underway so trucks can carry very large renewable energy equipment such as wind turbines. Australian company BMD Constructions has been awarded the contract to carry out the works, with construction expected to start within weeks. Roads Minister Jenny Aitchison says the first stage will include road upgrades at 19 locations, from the Port of Newcastle to the Central West. She says the work is important to allow the delivery of vital infrastructure and affordable energy into the future. A report is being prepared for the coroner after a young man died in a two-vehicle crash at Muswellbrook. Police say the 18-year-old was riding a motorbike which collided with a utility on Maitland Street just after 5:30pm yesterday. The motorcyclist died at the scene. The two 19-year-old men in the ute were not injured. The driver taken to hospital for mandatory testing. Investigations are continuing. Paterson Independent candidate Philip Penfold says scrapping the Hunter offshore wind project will be a requirement for any government to work with him if he wins the seat at next month's election. It comes as energy company Equinor continues to weigh up the offer from the federal government, with an outcome likely to be decided after next month's election. Philip Penfold says the community's disapproval of the project should be enough for it not to go ahead.
Clearly, the community are not in favour of having this delivered. Clearly, there are concerns for the environment, for the economy. Community do not want it, and the uproar is quite deafening.
Newcastle Council has listened to the concerns of Islington residents and decided not to proceed with a permit parking scheme in the suburb. It was thought the scheme would allow for a higher turnover of car spaces in George, Mary, Power, Phoebe and Morgan Streets. 115 residents signed a petition arguing the scheme wasn't needed because there is adequate 2-hour parking in the area. Also, it would put an extra cost burden of $97 a year on residents and $160 a year on visitors, which they say would be unfair and unaffordable for friends and family coming to visit them. Hunter locals who bank with cash are being forced to travel long distances or rely on single branches for their needs as bigger banks direct customers online for services. The Mutual says it leaves smaller banks having to foot the bill for cash transfers and services, which should be charged to the bigger banks. Chief Executive Mark Williams says they're calling on the federal government to introduce a shared cost model.
We strongly believe that big banks who profit most from Australia's financial system should be required to share the cost of supporting essential regional banking infrastructure in rural and remote Australia as part of their community service obligation.
The Catholic Church could be in for a significant financial windfall if plans to subdivide land at Lochinvar are approved. The Diocese of Maitland Newcastle has lodged plans for a 138-lot residential development on close to 15 hectares of land behind St Joseph's College. The church has owned the land for almost 140 years. If approved, the $19.5 million proposal would provide housing in one of the fastest growing areas of Maitland. It's hoped the development will be completed next year.
To NURFM Sport.
Tyson Gamble and James Schiller have returned to the Knights starting side as the club aims to change their fortunes when they face the Sharks this Sunday. The match will serve as Gamble's first of the year after going down with a back injury before the start of the season. Meanwhile, Lakes United will be without prop Vico Pulavea for tomorrow night's clash against Curry Curry in the Newcastle Rugby League competition. The forward was one of 4 players suspended from round 1, with Pulavea guilty of dangerous contact against Western Suburbs. The Jets women's team are preparing for their final match of the campaign when they take on the Mariners this Saturday. They will be without Sheridan Gallagher and Lorena Bowman due to the pair serving suspensions. Meanwhile, the Lambton Jaffers and Crowders Bay have advanced to the 5th round of the Northern New South Wales Australia Cup prelims after picking up wins against South Cardiff and New Lambton last night, respectively. That's sport. I'm Jessie Dennett.
And the winning numbers in Oz Lotto are 8, 13, 14, 23, 29, 32 and 41, and the supplementaries are 4, 40 and 43. And now you're up to date with the latest 2NURFM Hunter News.